Alisa and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am an IFS practitioner, and on this channel I like to marry IFS with the metaphysical, the energetic, and creative expression to help you on your healing journey. Today, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Abby.
And Abby's joining me again. Thank you, Abby. I really appreciate it.
As always, I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Today, we're going to talk about burdens. I know we mentioned them several times, probably in all of the videos, but we're going to talk about what that means because it sounds self-explanatory, but you had made really good point in the Exile video, about
the difference between the vulnerable part or any part and the burden that it holds. And sometimes my parts and just my system in general has a hard time distinguishing that parts are not their burdens.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And parts will do that. But I had this great session with a client. It was kind of funny the way we were talking. And if you think of our pain or our physical pain, right? We would never say oh, I'm my hernia, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't walk around and go, oh my God, I'm my umbilical hernia. Right. As soon as that happens. So, and I'm just putting that visual in your head because a lot of times we will say that I want to get rid of that worthless part. So instead it's that part that feels worthless.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm also stating this because we'll also say the angry part or the sad part where it's a feeling it's holding, like we talked about yesterday. So, and there's funny ones, you wouldn't say I'm my toenail.
Right.
Yeah,
so, exactly.
Right. So it's a similar kind of thing, but sometimes it's easier and more neutral to put it in a physical context.
It is, yes. Especially those abstract. It's so abstract.
It really is.
So.
It really is.
But it's so helpful to separate the overwhelming emotion and the overwhelming emotion from the part, because I think that really gets in the way of being open and curious about the part and the pain that it holds.
Well, right. And so the burdens themselves, just to be specific for parts, right? It are a overwhelming feeling or an overwhelming belief, and it's something it took on during the traumatic event. Usually when we're young, but you can get them later, right? So whatever was traumatic, we might take on the belief that the world's not safe, or a belief we may have taken on is that I'm responsible for people's pain.
Right.
Or I have to make myself small to make others feel that one.
Feel comfortable.
Yeah. So that one's a really common one. There's common burdens I'm not lovable, or if I don't do this, everything will fall apart. And we'll think that's just something that I've always believed, and that's the cue that's young. So
yes. You clue into that very, very well in our work together. You do a nice job guiding me to kind of have that step back in perspective.
Well,
yeah.
Well, honestly, it's you doing the work. I'm not taking credit.
No, you help guide and kind of lead in that sense sometimes. But yeah, it's really important and calming to a lot of the other parts in the system to know that it's okay to get to know this part, because it's not just anger, it's not just grief, or it's not just shame. There's a lot more to it. Parts have parts almost.
They do.
So
they really do.
It's really
and that can be overwhelming too.
Yeah, but it's also reassuring, I think, to lots of parts in the system that it's not just this one thing. Anger, stay away. It's oh no, there's more to it than that.
Right.
So.
And what I find helpful is sometimes to let that part know it doesn't have to be the one to get to know it. That's not, it's not his job anymore. I don't know why I had a part in one of its humorous moods, I guess, but we were talking about it in terms of the solar system, right? And so what happens sometimes is we are in our part, we're blended, like we would say, right? Especially for burdens nearby, and we don't trust us to hold it. So here we are on Earth, right? And Earth holds the moon in orbit. Earth does not hold the whole solar system in orbit. So it would be like looking at Jupiter and saying, I'm not holding that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's overwhelming. Like, it can stay out there in its orbit.
Yeah.
And forget it if you're in Mercury. Right. Just, you know, I mean,
That's
right. Maybe Mercury's a little suicidal next to the sun over there. I don't know. But that's a little erratic. It goes retrograde every 4 months. So, I mean, but if you're the sun, on the other hand, I mean, all these planets are dwarfed. But if you're the sun, you're not going to be able to handle another solar system. And if you're solar systems, you're not going to be able to handle another galaxy. And what that means is you can't hold another person's planets. So I don't know how that analogy kind of stacks
I
up.
like that analogy. Just like you can, you know, be present with those things, but you can't hold them.
Right. And if you're the sun, that's way in perspective. Those planets are like, whatever.
Yeah.
And in this analogy, this is just a part, we're considering Pluto a planet. You can argue with me in the comments, that's fine. But
I support that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So anyway, those burdens though would be like if you're Earth and you think you have to hold. But being able to also say, hey, no, I'm the sun, I got it. It really helps.
Right.
And if you're Earth, you, like you said, I don't want to be that. You don't have to. So I hope that helps clear up what burdens are. Those are those beliefs, and it's the sun or ourself that helps be with those parts to release them. And we'll talk about how that's done in another video.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you for being here again.
Of course, that was fun.
Yeah, you always make the conversation much more rich.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. And I forgot to say at the beginning, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and the like now that you finished the video if you liked it. Okay, thanks.